Marketer of the Day, Episode 704, Video Persuasion, Storytelling, Brand Building, Demonstration Videos, and Psychological Principles with Rick Cesari. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We are joined today by Rick Cesari, who has been a pioneer in the direct-to-consumer marketing industry since the early 90s. And if you've heard of some of these iconic brands like the Juiceman, Sonicare, the George Foreman Grill, OxiClean, Clarisonic, Rug Doctor, Momentous Golf, GoPro Camera, we could keep going, but he has been involved with all of them, and his strategies have helped grow 4 companies from startups to over $1 billion in sales. And he has a book called Building Billion-Dollar Brands, and his newest book is called Video Persuasion. And we're going to talk about using video in your online marketing, about sales, conversions, persuasion, storytelling, influence, whatever we can fit in. So Rick, glad to be talking to you today.
Hey, great. Thanks for having me on your show. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. So I've never heard of you, but I've heard about all these brands and I'm super duper impressed, and I'm sure that listeners are too. So can you tell us about yourself and what makes you unique and stand out and special?
Yeah, so I'll just give you a quick overview of my background. I actually, have spent my last 25 years in marketing, but I actually have a degree in biology, and my plan was that I was going to go to dental school, but I got tired of going to school, so I moved back down to Florida, and took a year off and kind of was a bum for a year, kind of a bartender and a lifeguard. Not that those things are bad professions, but I just wanted to spend a little bit of time away from school. But anyway, I got it interesting in how I could make money, and I started reading a lot of books, and the people that the books I was reading said that people could make money by buying real estate, investing in real estate. It was the same back then as it is today. So I started doing that, and I actually started help promoting real estate seminars. And that's how I kind of first learned marketing, trying to get people to show up to these free real estate seminars. And those were some of the early guys. This is happening way back. I'm going to date myself now, way back in the 80s, before there was even an internet. But I learned a lot about sales and marketing doing that. And they were some of the first people that started using television direct response or infomercials. And I made some shows to promote the seminars, and then just took what I learned and used it to start marketing direct to consumer products. And that one product you mentioned, the Juiceman, that was a company my brother and I started in 1990. And we were at the right time with the right product, and we're doing the right type of marketing. And that grew to $75 million in sales in a little under 4 years. And we sold it to a company in Chicago called Salton Housewares. And Salton was the company that came up with the George Foreman Grill. So they wanted us to do our marketing for that. And so I did that. And then Sonicare and OxiClean and Rug Doctor and a lot of the other ones you mentioned. And, have been using video to actually sell products to people for more than 30 years. And so my book that you mentioned earlier, Video Persuasion, that's kind of taken everything I've learned in the last 30 years about using video and persuading people to purchase, and I've put that in that book.
Super impressive, super awesome. And so, I mean, what is there to know about video persuasion? Because it seems like these brands you mentioned, I mean, like George Foreman Grill and Rug Doctor, I mean, these are like household names, right? And it's like sometimes I see some of these things that people have created. I'm like, how did they come up with such a catchy name, or how did they get them to be like so popular in this really like competitive kind of cutthroat space? I mean, what's the secret? What's even the starting point to start to wrap our heads around this whole video persuasion concept? Yeah,
well, that's a great question, and I want your listeners to know that these weren't big companies that had big ad budgets that hired me to do their marketing for them. These mostly were startups or companies doing very low in sales. And then I would come in and help them do their, marketing direct to consumer. And so, the names are recognizable now, mainly because all of these companies were able to spend millions and millions of dollars in advertising, but they didn't have the budget to do that. And part of the secret is really using understanding direct response principles and direct response marketing. And what that means is that you're not just making a video, but that the videos you're making, whether you're deploying them online, through social platforms or TV, if you're still doing that, that there's a specific call to action that's going to generate a response that you're looking for that's going to help generate revenue or generate new leads or generate new customers, and how to structure the video with the proper call, direct call to action, so that when you're using these videos for marketing, they're generating revenue for you, and then that you can use that revenue to help build the business.
Great. So yeah, it's like if you're not selling, then you can't grow from there. And you're so right in there, in that there's a structure, right? And that it's really easy to get lost in the technicalities of things and say, I'll just shoot a video. But you're saying we need to have a call to action. We need to make it really clear what we're solving and what we want people to do.
Yeah, I'll give you a great example, because the same, I have a YouTube video. I have a YouTube channel, which is rickcesari.tv, and I have a video there. It says how you can make a really good or engaging demonstration video. So the same concepts that were effective on TV are also effective for e-commerce, for videos on Amazon. And so there's kind of like 5 steps to making a good demonstration video. First, you need to introduce your product. Then you need to demonstrate the product. Then here's something where a lot of people fall down, especially Amazon sellers. You need to focus on the benefits and not the features. You can mention the features, but there's an old saying, features tell, benefits sell. And so you really should focus on the benefits to the end user. Then, if possible, include some authentic testimonials, and then always have a call to action. And you'd be surprised, 2 things I see going into a lot of companies that I consult with. One, they never reach out to their database and talk to their customers and get authentic testimonials, which I think are some of the most powerful marketing tools. And then a lot of them will make videos, but then they'll get someone excited about their product or service, and then they don't tell them to take the next step, which is, go to the buy box or go visit our website to get more information or get this free download, and little simple things like that. But a lot of companies aren't taking the right steps to do it.
And it's so simple to correct those mistakes, right? Like these steps that you mentioned. So introduce the product, demonstrate it, focus on benefits, not features, add testimonials, and have that call to action. When I first, came across these sorts of formulas, it's basically AIDA, right? Attention, interest, desire, action. And before I knew that there was like a proven universal formula, basically, then a lot of before that, sometimes an ad or a video just wouldn't quite sit right. And then once you know that there are these like exact steps to bring someone through, then you can kind of tell like if a piece is missing or if a piece could be better or if things are kind of out of order, and then now you're confused. Like it makes a lot more sense knowing that there is the structure. And like you said, if there's an Amazon seller out there who has these products for sale and the video's not quite right, just run it through these steps and correct this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great stuff. And, the other thing, I kind of take it a step further. And there's a great book out there for your listeners, and you've probably heard of it. It's called Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. And Robert Cialdini has 6 persuasion principles, and I show how you can use those in your videos. And this is really proven like psychological reasons why people react to certain things. And so if you can include one or more of those principles in your videos, you're more apt to have engaging videos, but also get people to respond in the manner that you want. And, example, we talked about testimonials, and people have heard about social proof. And that's really a psychological concept that when people are in a situation and they don't know how to act, they'll look to see what other people are doing. So look at Amazon reviews. If you go on Amazon and you're looking at 2 different products and one has 2 reviews and the other one has 100, most people are going to buy the one with 100 reviews. So that goes for e-commerce. If you can get more authentic video testimonials on your site, you're going to appeal to more people, and it's going to break down the barriers to purchase and help create higher conversions.
Well, fantastic. Well, you mentioned a little bit earlier about Amazon sellers, right? That this is a whole new space of that. It's not just it's not the 90s or the 80s anymore, where you had to get this television spot and had to run these ads. Some people can just have a YouTube channel like how you have yours, or they can post on an Amazon page. And then you always hear how our attention span is so limited. So how does that translate into what you do now? Like, I imagine that would mean like quicker cuts and shorter videos. But then also there's that issue sometimes of, like, I know if I want to buy something, sometimes I'm looking for like a specific feature. So how do you like balance those things of having these short videos, but then also packing in specific things, like if our attention span is super short these days?
Yeah, and that's a great point. People always have the ability to click away. In the old days, it was with a TV remote. If you didn't capture their attention, bang, they would switch to another channel. Online, it's even faster. People, if you don't catch their attention. So I talk about in the book 3 different ways, and actually there's probably about half a dozen different ways that you can start a video to really capture people's attention and then hold it in there. And I use a lot of, there's another good book I read in my 20s called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And he gave us formula for giving a speech. And that is, tell them what you're going to say it, and tell them what you said. And that sounds like a simplistic formula, but another mistake a lot of video makers make is they don't get to the point quick enough what the video is about, and then you lose the viewer. So a real easy way to start a video is ask the person a question. How would you like to lose 10 pounds? Do you want to have more energy? Would you like to have a better night's sleep? And if it's interesting then to the viewer, by asking that question, they're going to stay more engaged to see if you deliver the answer. And hopefully you do. In the next 30 seconds, 90 seconds, whatever, you'll deliver the answer to that. So I talk a bunch of ways in the book about how to start videos to keep the viewers engaged, so that they'll stay and listen to what the rest of the video has to say.
Fantastic. And what I'm liking about our conversation so far is that these are all really simple formulas, right?
Yes.
Like the Robert Cialdini list,
Yes.
like just that idea of start with a question, solve a problem, know what the point is of that video so that you're not just rambling. These are all easy fixes or just simple things to keep in mind for the videos that we'll be creating.
Yeah, let me make two points about that, because one thing that's never changed, like delivery platforms are changing, daily, weekly, monthly. There's a new social media platform, but human behavior doesn't really change. And so the same hot buttons that worked for print ads, radio ads, eventually TV, and now online, if you understand the underlying human psychology and how to tap into that, you can then make your videos more successful. And that's what I talk about. And so the second thing, let me just give you a quick example of one project that ties everything we are talking about together. My company did all the television marketing for the GoPro camera, and GoPro used a combination of TV and online marketing. So if you ever looked at a GoPro ads, they were 30 seconds long. They were TV ads. Every TV ad started with a GoPro logo. So we were telling people right away, this is a GoPro ad. Then it was user-generated content, people jumping off a cliff in a wingsuit or snowboarding or scuba diving. But at the end, we put an offer that said someone will win one of everything they make every single day. So 3 great things happened. They watched the commercial. They would go to the website to register for the contest. So we were building a database of names that we could remarket to and email market to. The second great thing, people would get to the website. They would see other cool videos. They would share them with their friends, creating a viral effect. And the third thing that happened was more traditional direct response. They would get to the website and they'd purchase the product, generating revenue, which would offset the advertising costs. So just kind of a real simple formula that helped GoPro grow from 0 to $1 billion in 8 years. And I mean, there were other factors at play too, obviously, but that was the main advertising campaign that helped make them successful.
And so there are kind of 2 things I want to pick up on from what you said there. One is that I love this idea that the humans haven't really changed that much in the last couple of decades. Like, the technology's changed, but that means that we can sometimes pick up or reuse or repurpose old ideas, even some things that maybe we've forgotten about or things that we can bring back. And then the other thing that's cool about our conversation here is that that you're then using all this new stuff in a new way, right? Like bringing together like the user generated content. And so one thing that has me curious though is, how do you arrive at some of these decisions that you make? Like you say, like, well, GoPro, you have the logo first and you have the user generated content and the contest. Is that just a matter of like observing what people are doing and putting it together? Or like, how do you go from nothing to having these kind of new, unique ideas that get really popular?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, it's kind of a combination of an art and a science. And so kind of the art comes in, it's a little bit easier for me. I've been doing this for 30 years. The reason I can have some successes is I've probably made every mistake under the book. So I know what not to do, I guess. But at the end of the day, the reason I love direct response marketing is that you can test, and you can test very inexpensively. So you can create a couple different ads and then test them and see which ones generate the best response. And there's very few projects that I get involved in where the first time out, it's like, this ad's a home run. If you go way back to the commercials I made for the original George Foreman Grill, which eventually sold over 100 million units, the very first TV ads I made didn't work. I started them out with boxing footage because I thought that would be cool and would capture people's attention. But I didn't understand the end user was stay-at-home moms that didn't like boxing. So once we took out the boxing footage, the commercials started working a lot better. So to answer your question, you start off with kind of an educated guess based on understanding the demographic that you're marketing to and what they respond to. And then you make an ad, you test it. If you get the ROI you're looking for, you spend a little bit more money. If you don't, you go back and change the editing. But let me tell you a good shortcut to getting the right solution to what to advertise. One of the first steps I take when I'm working with any business is to reach out to their customer base. And most companies nowadays have, if they're doing direct to consumer, have a database that we can email to. And I set up a testimonial day where I'll send out emails to local areas and invite maybe 15 people to one location. We do a for rent by owner, get a house. People can show up there every 45 minutes. And I interview these people and I ask them a series of questions, which I have in the book, that basically, why do you buy this product? How do you hear about it? What do you like about it? What do you don't like about it? If you were telling your friends about it, what would you say? And I'm recording all this so I can use the answers as sound bites in my marketing, but I'm really getting firsthand kind of market research. And after talking to 15 different people, I kind of know like what motivates people to buy the product. So I am basing the ads that I make and the videos that I make on real customer answers.
Awesome. So you take this educated guess, you try to figure out what would motivate them, you're based on the data, and then you also work in these testimonials, these customer stories. And I imagine when you do these 15 interviews that there's a lot of recurring keywords, phrases, overlap.
Yeah, there's
kind of things,
exactly. You hit the nail on the head. You start to see trends and people start saying, the reasons that they purchase something. And, you could use any of the examples of the product you mentioned it's funny, this last weekend, I have a new client called Real Time Pain Relief. They sell pain products, and they were having a distributor convention in Birmingham that I spoke at. And, but I interviewed 50 people, and I've never had this happen before. All 50 people had amazing stories of how this product helped them relieve pain when nothing else could. And so when you listen to these and hear that, someone had a hip replacement or a bad back or bad knees, you can start to put together kind of a marketing script that really would appeal to people. So I'm not kind of inventing things based on my knowledge or experience, but really kind of taking the feedback I'm getting from the customers and then turning that into the advertising.
I love it. Yeah, you're like just kind of assembling things. You're taking the best stuff and packaging it together. So that's kind of reassuring in a way, right? Because it means that you're just taking these raw materials and making something better, and in a way like reflecting, echoing their words back to them. Because if you try to come up with some words or some video, or you said, I'm just going to sit down and write something from scratch. I mean, that seems like that would be a very hit or miss way to go about it, right? Either you'd like be a genius and make it work, or it would always flop because you're just guessing.
Yeah, I'll take a shortcut. Let's say you want to market a product. Find a similar product on Amazon, that's similar to one you're marketing, and go read the reviews. And the reviews for that product will kind of give you great. I've always found that I can never write copy lines as good as what people come up with, in testimonials. And so that's kind of a little shortcut you can use to at least get some background when you're thinking of launching a product or a new product. If you don't have any customers, that's kind of a shortcut way to do it. So it's just, I'm a real big person in using customer feedback and tried and true strategies that have worked for literally decades. And I know some of it sounds simplistic, but the only thing I can say is it works. So I keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could make it hard, but then how would that benefit anyone else? And also that's a really good point there of find a similar product on Amazon, because I mean, nowadays there's so much information available to all of us. And then also there's sometimes people will say things and they don't even realize how impactful it is, right? How important it is. And we're like, ooh, that phrase, the way you put that with the pain relief, that's so catchy. That's so profound. And they don't even know because they're just talking. They're just, being honest and letting the words flow out. So yeah, this is all really great stuff. And we're approaching almost the end here. We're in these last few minutes and about to wrap up. But is there anything you think that we need to know in this modern day and age, as far as we've been talking about combining the old and the new? And one area that I want to make sure that we cover before wrapping up is the storytelling aspect, right? Because that's kind of tricky sometimes.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So, if people go to my website, which is rickcesari.com, they can download a free ebook that I have, the 3 most engaging types of online video. And so if people have a website, our e-commerce website, and this is going to touch on stories, I recommend that they have 3 types of videos on there. One, I believe people should always have some type of introduction story that is basically why, if someone visits your website and you're selling a widget, why tell me about yourself, why you're selling this widget, what's your background, it's your story. And then why you're different, why should I buy it from you versus a competitor? What's different about it? And that's kind of, you can do all of that in, 60 to 90 seconds. And so it's always kind of like an introduction video that tells the people who you are and why you do what you're doing, which is kind of your story that you mentioned. Then these are other types of videos that I mentioned in that free download. Every website, if you're selling a product, should have a tutorial video. And tutorial video is really just a how-to. How do you use the product or service? And then the third is demonstration, which is now it's not just how to use it, but you're demonstrating it and focusing on the benefits to the end user. And then if you can incorporate any video testimonials, that would be the last thing I would say. And if you can have all those types of videos on your website, and again, you talked about length earlier, these don't have to be long. Video testimonials, can be 10, 15 seconds. And I find that if people, if you take the right soundbite, they can be as long as 30 seconds if people find them engaging. So.
Super cool. Well, you're making a lot of sense here, and I mean, I'm taking all sorts of notes. And there's even I'm gonna send that freebie, or the link to that freebie, over to a client who specifically needs this, who's a doctor who's making a website, making the web pages, making the videos, and isn't really exactly sure how do I how do I say the right things and hit the hot buttons, but also be like short and to the point. So yeah, this is great of having like that kind of that origin story video and talk about how you differentiate, how the tutorial video, how the demonstration and testimonial video. I mean, this is all really great stuff, and everyone should go to rickcesari.com. And you also have some books and other things. So if people say, man, this is making a lot of sense here, you're giving me things to think about and implement, I want to keep the party going. I don't want to just listen to a podcast episode, which was great, but now we want to find out all about Mr. Rick Cesari and find out about what he has going on video-wise and book-wise. So what other sorts of links, resources, URLs do you have for us today?
Yeah, so my website's a great place to start, and it's my name's RICK and last name is CESARI, rickcesari.com. And so I have a blog there, a weekly blog that talks about all types of video marketing. If you don't like to read, and there's some great statistics how we're becoming a video first society, I have a YouTube channel, which is rickcesari.tv. And on the YouTube channel, it's like I show you how to make a good demonstration video, and I show you how to make a good tutorial video, and basically how to use video to build your business. So those are really the best, the two best resources is my website and my YouTube channel to get more information. And, I'd love it if, if it makes sense for any of your listeners to purchase my book, Video Persuasion. You can find that on Amazon. And he did mention my previous book, which is Building $1 Billion Brands. And that's kind of more of a case study and what it takes to build a brand and grow it into $1 billion. And, there's Sonicare, OxiClean, GoPro, and George Foreman Grill. And those are the big ones. And then there's a whole bunch of ones that didn't quite reach $1 billion, but they hit 100 million.
Well, close enough, right? We can settle for that.
Yeah, I'd be happy. Yeah, when I'm launching a product, if it can get a few million, I'm happy.
Yeah. So there was a heck of a lot to chew on, and the place to go is rickcesari.com. As Rick said, last name is CESARI.com. And then rickcesari.tv is where you can find those videos. And do check out his video persuasion book on Amazon, which is linked to from the website, because we're becoming that video first society. If we're going to hide and not be on video, then we're going to miss out. We have all these other competitors, and if they have some app or coaching program or book or whatever it is that they have, and they're on video and we're not, we're going to miss out. And if we're also on video, but we are missing some of these key ingredients of persuasion, we're going to miss out. So rickcesari.com, go there, check out his book, check out his blog, and we'll see you there. And thanks so much, Rick, for stopping by and wowing us with your wisdom, but also keeping it simple, keeping it very implementable. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me on, and hopefully I can come back again.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to rate and review the show yet? If not, go right now to marketeroftheday.com/iTunes. Click view in iTunes and click the ratings tab. We would really appreciate a 5-star rating or whatever you think is fair, plus a quick 1-sentence review to tell us how we're doing. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.